We got Griz back in the shop. See if we can get some more stuff finished up on this front end. Kian's built a template for this piece that goes from here to here that catches this upper part of the steering box. You can see he's got it laid out on that piece of square tube. There's a template.
See where I marked the bolt that'll be for the steering box and roughly center.
So he'll get that cut out. I'm going to cut out the pieces for the shock tower on the passenger side. So there's that one and this one. I'll get those cut, then we can get this shock tower in. Once the shock tower's in, I'll make sure it matches the driver's side that we put in last week. And if everything looks good, well, then we'll finish welding everything up and it'll be ready to support its own weight on the coilovers. So that's kind of a milestone. And then we'll kind of finish plating the frame here where we put this wider section on. We need to finish tying that all together. I've got this piece in, but we still need to gusset it top and bottom. And then we'll have to build the gusset pieces that go inside the shock tower like we did on the driver's side. And then the front part of the frame will essentially be done. I'll get this tacked in now. Grab my angle finder and make sure that they both match. Okay, perfect. So now I can put the top piece on now that the bottom's in the same spot.
Are you gonna have Kian tack that when you have it just right?
I think so. Okay. Right there.
Well, we had to clearance this frame just a little bit for that big steering box. So we took a die grinder and cut a notch right there. And then we just used this ball joint press so we could have enough pressure to tighten that up. So we got it all V'd out. Now we're gonna weld it. And then once we get that done, we should be able to put the steering box back in. Actually, we got to grind a spot on the steering box. So we'll just grind that one spot, only take just a minute.
Okay.
And then we'll for sure have enough clearance and get that thing to pull tight against the frame. So.
Yeah, and then we're ready for this piece.
Yep.
This is the piece. I had to clearance it here for part of the steering box too.
Oh yeah.
But then this is where the third bolt of the box goes right there. And it just sits right down there.
Cool. And I like to keep all the old license plates I get because they're super handy for stuff like this. When you want to protect a tool or something from weld spatter, you just wrap that around it. It just works good. It doesn't cost anything, and when it's all wore out and holes are burned in it, you just recycle it. We reuse and then recycle usually.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's because I'm cheap.
Yeah, that's right.
Why spend money when a free piece works so good?
Yeah, no kidding.
One more spot right there just to hold that corner and we'll be set.
Yep, we'll be set.
There we go. Oh, yeah, perfect. See how much we knock that in. Not a quarter inch, it's dang close too.
Finally able to get it on the rack, get it lifted up to get this track bar in. And once the track bar's in, then I can start flexing it, making sure everything clears, see where I'm gonna end up putting the bump stops. There's not a lot of room here for anything on this one side. Put the steering box right there. the drag link right there, and the tie rod right here, and the axle housing, the pitman arm, everything. It's really, really tight. So you can just kind of see there's a nice little window right there where a track bar will just barely fit. Here's my mock-up track bar, just like the drag link and the tie rod end. These are just temporary. It's just 120 wall, 1.25 inch. Kind of gives me an idea what's going to work, but nowhere near strong enough to actually drive on. The track bar is about 41 inches long, which is real close to the length of the drag link, which is right around 43. The angles should be pretty much right on the same by the time I'm done. Got these 2 brackets made. These will go on the frame, right around where the steering box bolts. Hey Corbin, good timing. We'll get those tacked in place, and then this end will go onto the housing. And again, these are just mock-up ends, so I just use 1/2 inch bolt just because it's a lot easier to deal with rather than the 3/4 inch bolts that'll be used for final assembly. When I get the actual drag link and the track bar made, then I open up the holes to 3/4, put 3/4 inch bolts in them. But before I can weld the brackets in place, I need to do a little bit more cleanup work. So the brackets are going to go right here. But before I do that, I need to clean this up. As you can see, I had some contamination right there, so I need to clean that up. Weld that, grind it, probably go ahead and do all the sleeves while I'm here. A little bit of contamination there, and a little contamination there, and a little bit of undercut there since we're critiquing everything. So I'll get that all handled, get it all ground up, get those brackets tacked in place. So I got this bracket all welded on this side, and the beginnings of the bracket on this side for the track bar. And I need to have it tucked in far enough that the drag link doesn't hit it, but far enough away from the housing that I can get a nut on the back side of that 3/4 inch bolt. So now I can flex this, see what all's gonna interfere with stuff. Got my transmission jack under here, and let's see here. I'll let her down about that far and see where things look. Looks good over here. Oh, looks like that's about to hit right there. The drag link's about to hit on the frame. Let that down some more. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, we've only dropped this side about 6.5 inches. And that side's already hitting. Let's see. Looks like I'll need to cut a pretty good chunk out of the bottom of this. I think that's about 3 inches there, about 1.5 inches high. Not overly surprised, so I'll probably take and add a piece to the top of this rail, kind of like I did on that side to support the steering box, to compensate for the strength I'm going to lose by cutting this section out for the drag link clearance. I think everything else is going to be okay. Coilover clearance looks like it'll be okay on both sides. I'll have to cut that frame out and get it to flex a little bit more, and then I'll put the coilovers in and see how they're going to clear. I'll put the transmission jack under the passenger side and drop it down and see what kind of interference we have on when we drop that side down. Whoops. Guess I should have got a nut on that one. Okay, well, let's get that bolted on. I got that put back together, and hopefully it doesn't just tear the bracket off of the front, off of the housing or off of the frame. So yeah, let's see what it does. So far so good. No bad noises. Ooh, spoke too soon. any welds. Let's see, how are we doing over here? This is the tight spot right there. So far, so good. Alright. We are at, well, let's see, we'll go to 8. Alright, there's 8. This will be pretty much all the farther radius arms will ever let it go, if it even goes that far. I do have the upper link taken off of the driver's side to take some of the bind off of it. Here you can see the problem with radius arms. So that's how far it wants to move everything. So it has to be the bushings here that give. I'm gonna put some bushings right here that are a little softer and even softer than these to give a little bit more of give on them, so I can get about this much flex out of it, and that'll be perfect for what this one's going to be used for. There's just no way to do a 3-link or a 4-link system on the front of this. There's way too much stuff in the way, but the radius arms will do well. With the binding, the inherent binding will keep it stable going down the highway, especially if I have a trailer hooked on the back, which I hope to be able to do. It'd be pretty fun to drag the Blazer behind this, go to wherever we're going to go, and have them both wherever we need them to. One for doing the recovery and the other one be the support vehicle. So that's ultimately what I'm seeing with this whole combination. Let's see, so that's 8 inches. I don't see any interference this way. Track bar is really tight on the cover. I think the plan is to make that out of a solid piece of 1 1/4 inch, and I'll probably put a small bend in it to get that track bar around the diff cover and to have it clear that pitman arm. Oh yeah, we're still good clearance on the oil cooler. It never changes. It stays about that much clearance all the way through the travel. Oh yeah, I've got it marked right there where I need to do just a little bit more grinding on that housing. That all but touches that cross member right there. So I'll go back up with it now. Okay. That's as low as it'll go. And you can see all but touches there. In fact, it might be touching right now. Just did a little measuring, and it looks like the passenger side length is about 3/16 shorter than the driver's side. That should open that up just a little bit. You can see it's kind of at the clearance is kind of at a taper, so lengthening that link, about 3/16 should give me what I need. Tiny bit more grinding, and it should have plenty of clearance. And while we're under here, you can see the frame, so I need to box all that in. And same thing back here where the rear rails come in, that will all get boxed as well. So once the transfer case is in, then I can get this cross member made, and once that transmission cross member is made, then this original cross member can come out, and then I can box the frame and then add a new cross member probably out of 2x4 or something, whatever I got to make to clear the drive line. So add some strength back into the frame wherever I can, and then do some triangulation in a few of these cross members, hopefully help keep the frame from diamonding. I think that's overall a good success. So I'm just going to notch this frame over here, do a little more flexing. Once that's all clearance, then I'll get the coilovers in, and then we'll figure out where the bump stops are going to go. Okay, I took a plasma cutter to the frame, cut a big notch out of it right there, and now I'll flex it again and see if that's going to clear the frame. Hopefully there's enough clearance there I can cap that with a piece of 3/16 and not have to grind anymore. Lower this down. Oh yeah, days of room there. Okay, that looks good. Let's go all the way back this direction. I probably didn't need to cut it as deep as I did, but that's okay. I'll have tons of room and not have to worry about it. I was planning on capping the top of this rail anyway, so it's not a big deal. I think it's about time to dig out some coilovers, see what that turns into. Threw the coilovers in real quick, see how that all clears. Okay, tons of room on this side. And this side, definitely tighter, but still plenty of room. My next concern is where I was going to put the bump stops at. So I was originally thinking they would go possibly right up here to catch that pad. That's definitely not going to work. It'll have to go behind the coilover like that, and it will catch this spot right here. So I'll just have to add a pad to this. This is cast steel, so I should be able to weld to that. Not too much work. And then on this side, same thing. Looks like there's plenty of room to do that. I'll have to flatten that out, put a pad on it as well. So, okay, let's go ahead and droop this side. Yeah, looks like it's about the same on this side as it was the other. I've got this sitting at right height now, roughly anyway, give or take a half. Track bar and the drag link are at a pretty mild angle. You can see how low it is. The axle just hangs just below the cross member, engine cross member there. And so it's gonna have a way low ride height, I'm hoping, with the big 42-inch tires. So trying to keep this as low as I can and stable as I can. I think it looks better too. So, well, I think this takes care of it for tonight. It's about all the time I have for Griz this week. Sorry that it's such a small update. Still waiting on a couple of key parts for this project, and kind of been working on Gonzo a lot too. Still super excited about Gonzo. Been doing a lot of little things to it, but nothing big enough to put a video together just yet. Hopefully another week or so we'll have another update on Gonzo. I think you'll like what I've done to it so far. Till next time, remember, don't wait for others to be happy for you. Just go ahead and be happy for yourself right now. Thanks for watching.